Good afternoon. In this class, we will be seeing linear non-homogeneous recurrence relation with constant coefficients. So, in the previous class, we have seen linear homogeneous recurrence relations. So, we did not see this part. We had seen linear homogeneous recurrence relations with constant coefficients. So, solving simply linear homogeneous recurrence relation, we have simplified it and we have seen it with the help of four theorems. So we have studied four theorems for solving different kinds of linear homogeneous recurrent relations. Now, in this class, we will see non-homogeneous. Now, if you recall your first part of this unit, I explained these terms and I mentioned what non-homogeneous means. Whenever you have a function of n in such that the earlier terms are not similar to this function of n, then it is known as non-homogeneous. So that is whenever your recurrence relation contains some term f of n that depends only on n not on any a_r values. A1, A2, A3 generally use an minus 1 in terms of this. Our function of n does not depend on an or an minus 1, it is simply dependent on n. So in that case, we call it as linear non-homogeneous recurrence relation. For the explanation on homogeneous and linear and all these terms, please refer to the first video of this unit 3. So now, whenever we are talking about linear non-homogeneous recurrence relation with constant coefficient, so they contain some terms such as this f of x that depend only on x. In that case, the general form of our equation will be an c1 an minus 1 plus c2 an minus 2. It's mentioned here, so let me just write it over here. a1 an c1 an minus 1 plus c2 an minus 2 plus and so on up to ck an minus k. We may have one term over here, two terms, or k terms. There will be a function of n that depends only on n, not on this f of n. Okay, this is the general form of it, linear non-homogeneous recurrence relation. Now, for these linear non-homogeneous recurrence relations, you already know that C1, C2, and so on up to Ck are all real numbers. So they are all real numbers. This we have already studied with respect to the earlier one, linear homogeneous recurrence relation, and f of n is dependent only on n. Now, this part of the equation, that is the one I have underlined or given with the help of a bracket, this is known as associated homogeneous recurrence relation. Associated because it is homogeneous. If we don't consider this term, this part is homogeneous. So that is why we are calling it associated homogeneous recurrence relation. And this is very important. It is actually very important when we want to find the solution for our linear non-homogeneous recurrence relation. And one example, if you want, can be given as an is equal to 3an minus 1. If this was an example, then we call it as homogeneous recurrence relation because we don't have anything which is dependent only on n. So this is linear homogeneous recurrence relation. But suppose if I add 2 power n or 2n or 5n or simply n square, then it will be non-homogeneous. So let me just erase this. Yeah. So now it will be non-homogeneous. So this equation a is equal to 3an minus 1 plus power n is linear non-homogeneous recurrence relation with constant coefficient. Now, what is the reason we are calling it as linear non-homogeneous recurrence relation with constant coefficients? First and foremost, we have this value over here, f of n. This is f of n. This is our f of n. So in this case, we have this function which is dependent only on n and not on the en terms. and this is known as linear non-homogeneous. So for these solutions, we can't use the four theorems that we have studied earlier. That is, we cannot consider the general equation and then find the root, etc. What we have used in an earlier case. Now for this case, we will have to have another solution which will be given as follows. So in the next slide, you will be seeing that. So solution of linear non-homogeneous recurrence relation with constant coefficient. So this is just a short form actually, but this means non-homogeneous. Non-homogeneous. Now in this case, suppose before seeing this, the solution, we will see just a few examples so that we understand the associated a bit in detail. So let's see. Suppose the recurrent relations an is equal to a minus 1 plus 2, then a is equal to an minus 1 plus an minus 2 plus n squared plus n plus 1. An is equal to 3an minus 1 plus n into the power n. An is equal to an minus 1 plus an minus 2 plus n minus 3 plus n factorial. All these are linear non-homogeneous recurrence relations with constant coefficients. Okay. Now, in this case, what is the reason they are linear non-homogeneous? Because we have these functions in each case. Now, the question is, what are the associated linear non-homogeneous recurrence relations? What are the associated homogeneous recurrence relation in each case? So in this case, just underline the associated homogeneous recurrence relation. So we have this is associated homogeneous recurrence relation in the first case. In the second case, you have to exclude the terms which do not contain this n. So that means these terms will be excluded, and this is the associated homogeneous recurrence relation. Just let me draw this. Yeah. And in the third case, you can identify this is the associated homogeneous recurrence relation. And in the final case, you have till n minus 3. By now, I hope you have understood the concept. Now, let's proceed to the solution of this kind of problem. Now, when we want to find the solution of a non-homogeneous recurrence relation, we can understand one thing, or this will be actually easier to understand, but whenever we want to find a solution, it will be the sum of two things. So because we have two parts in our homogeneous relation, the associated part and the other is the function of n. So for this solution, we will have it in two parts. One will be the solution. One will be the solution of the associated part and the solution of your function of n. So this theorem 5. So we'll be continuing with the same sequence, that is theorem 5. So the four theorems, you have to remember that the first four theorems are for homogeneous and the fifth theorem is for non-homogeneous. Now in this case, if an of p is a particular solution to the linear non-homogeneous recurrence relation, then an is equal to c1 an minus 1. So instead of writing the entire thing c1 an minus 1 plus c2 an minus 2 until we go on up to ck an minus k, Instead of that, I have shortened it in this way, that is I is equal to 1 to k Cian minus I plus f of n. Okay, so this, for this every solution, it is of the form an of p plus an of h. Now what is an of p and what is an of h? An of p is your particular solution for the linear non-homogeneous recurrence relation. Okay, but what is this an of h? An of h is the solution for your associated recurrence relation, that is your an is equal to c1 an minus 1. I'm just writing it completely instead of the shortened or the abbreviated form. So this will be an of h is the solution for homogeneous recurrence relation, and it is given in this way: c1 an minus 1 plus c2 an minus 2, the same thing, plus and so on up to ck an minus k. So this an of h is the solution for our homogeneous part, and this is the way you use the solution. Now for the same, we will see an example. So instead of doing it over here, I'll try to do it on a whiteboard. So find all the solutions to an is equal to 3an minus 1 plus 2n, for which the solution, what is the solution with a1? So this is our initial condition. If you remember the concept of initial condition, a1 is given as 3. Okay, so for this, let's do it over here. The question is an is equal to 3an minus 1 plus 2n. Now, to solve this linear non-homogeneous recurrence relation with constant coefficient, this is n minus 1, just let me change it, n minus 1. We need to solve its associated linear homogeneous equation and to find a particular solution for the given non-homogeneous equation. So what is the associated linear homogeneous equation? Let me just write it. So for the associated linear homogeneous equation for this problem is an is equal to 3an minus 1. That is, we have to exclude the function of n. And what are the solutions? So every time each term will be multiplied with 3. So suppose a1 is 3 or a1 is 2. Let's take the initial condition of our example. So it is given that a1 is equal to 3. So a1 is 3, then a2 will be 3 into 3 and so on. Each time we are multiplying with 3. So the general equation or the general solution will be given as an of h is given as alpha into 3 power n. Okay, where your alpha is a constant. Okay, so alpha is given as a constant. Now we have to find a particular solution. Okay, we need the particular solution. I have found, so first understand this. This is the first step. I need to find the homogeneous equation, this part's solution. So that will be simply multiplying with 3 power n, and we have to take a constant alpha. Now for this is your second part. We have to find a particular solution. Now because what is our f of n given as? F of n is equal to 2n. What is this 2n? It is a polynomial equation of degree 1. It is polynomial in degree 1. And for this, we can easily say that, suppose if we want to take a trial solution, and it can be taken as Pn is equal to Cn plus d, where both C and D are constant. C and D are constant. To determine whether there are any solutions of this form, suppose that Pn is equal to Cn plus D, this is a solution. Then the equation En is equal to 3an minus 1 plus 2n, it can be written as, so instead of an we will write this Pn. Okay, so let me just write it over here. En is being replaced by this value, that's it. Okay, nothing complicated. So if we have an, we will write Cn plus d. If we have an minus 1, we will write C into n minus 1 plus d. Okay, so now this can be written as the equation, our original equation. I'll just point it out here. It is being written as Cn plus d is equal to 3 into C into n minus 1 plus d. Why am I writing n minus 1? Because we have a n minus 1 over here, plus 2n. Now we will solve this equation completely, bring all the terms to one side and equate it to 0. So when we do that, we will get, let me just do it completely, 3 into 3cn minus 3 plus 3d plus 2n. Okay. After that, it can be written as, let's bring these terms to this side. So we will have 3cn minus cn plus 3d plus, actually minus, since here we have a plus, this will change to minus. So minus d plus 2n minus 3 minus 3, actually this will be when we multiply c, so minus 3c. So minus 3c is equal to 0. I'll just write it better over here. So 3cn minus cn is 2cn. We'll bring the n terms to one side so we can take n common. So 2cn plus 2n. 3d minus d is 2d. Minus, this is 3c. So minus 3c is equal to 0. Now after that, let's take the n common. 2 plus 2c into n plus 2d minus 3c is equal to 0. If you remember, c and d both are constants. We took cn plus d, n is the term, c and d are constants. So this is our cn plus d solution. So if you look, this is the c part. Okay, this is also a constant, we are multiplying with n, and this is also a constant. Now, if and only if, now this becomes a solution if 2 plus 2c is equal to 0 and 2d minus 3c is equal to 0. Okay, now we will find the c value from here. C is equal to, this will be minus 2 divided by 2 will be minus 1, and if we substitute minus 1 in this equation, we will get d is equal to minus 3 by 2. Then what will our an of p becomes? An of p will be, our actual equation was cn plus d. So instead of cn plus d, we have to substitute the c and d value. So it will be minus n minus 3 by 2. This is the particular solution for our f of n. Now, by using the theorem, we know that our theorem stated that we had to add both the solutions. An was an of p plus an of h. Okay, so an of h, if you remember, was alpha into 3n. The first thing that I did, the first step. Now, this is by using theorem 5. So let me just mention that by theorem 5. So we will write the entire thing, minus n minus 3 by 2 plus, what is this part, alpha into 3 power n, where we know that alpha is a constant, where alpha is a constant. Now we need to find the value of alpha. To find the solution with a1 is equal to 3, So let's do that. So we know that A1 is given as 3. A1 is 3. So substitute the value and let n is equal to 1. Alright. So this can be written as A1 is equal to n is 1 we are taking, so minus 1 minus 3 by 2 plus alpha into 3 power 1. A1 is also given as 3. 3 is equal to minus 1 minus 3 by 2 plus alpha into 3. Then if we solve this equation for alpha, the value will be 11 by 6. So alpha value we have obtained. Now let's go back to our equation, and instead of this, okay, I'm writing here by just clearing, striking this off, but in your notes, please write finally over here, okay, because it is easier to understand. I'm just writing it over here. So your final solution will be minus n minus 3 by 2 plus 11 by 6 into 3n. So this is an example problem by using theorem 5. Now after that, let's take another example. Find all solutions of the recurrence relation. An is equal, this is the question. So An is given as 5an minus 1 plus 6an minus 2 plus 7 power n. Okay. Now in this case, initial conditions are not given. So if we have alpha and beta in our equation, they will remain as it is. So we can identify that this is a linear non-homogeneous recurrence relation. And what is the associated homogeneous recurrence relation? I'll just mention it over here. Associated homogeneous recurrence relation is given as An is equal to 5an minus 1 minus 6an minus 2. Now if you solve it, we will be using theorem 1, I believe. An minus 5an minus 1 plus 6an minus 2 is equal to 0. Then when we get the roots will be 2 and 3. So yes, if we convert it into r square minus 5r plus 6, and then if you find the roots, basically the roots will be 2 and 3. Please solve it by yourself. You have to do the entire steps in the examination. R1 is equal to 2 and R2 is equal to 3. Okay. So our An of H will be alpha 1 into 2 power n plus alpha 2 into 3 power n, where alpha 1 and alpha 2 are constants. Now we have f of n is given as 7. F of n is given as 7 power n. Let me just write f of n. F of n is given as 7 power n and a trial solution. So we need to find the solution. So what we do is we use a trial method, and we see that the trial solution will be An of p can be c into 7 power n, where your c is given as a constant. So in our earlier example, we took cn plus d. The reason being we had multiplication 2 into n, but here since we have power of n, our terms will be in powers of n only. So we just need one c as a constant. Now to substitute this in our equation, so instead of an, we will be substituting c into 7 power n. So let's just substitute it. So c into 7 power n, instead of an minus 1, c into 7 power n minus 1. So 5 into c into 7 power n minus 1. Here c into 7 power n minus 2. Okay. So c into 7 power n minus 2 plus 7 power n. Now just cancel the 7, divide the entire equation by 7 power n minus 2, how we generally do it. We will get 49c. Here we will be left with dividing the equation with 7 power n minus 2. I am just writing it over here. This is very, very important. So when we divide 7 power n by 7 power n minus 2, we will be left with 7 square, which is equivalent to 49. So 49c, here we will be left with 7. So 5 into 7 will be 35. 35c, or better, let me divide it and show you. Okay. So when we divide the entire equation by 7 power n minus 2, let's divide it by 7 power n minus 2. Then we cancel, we get over here 7 square, which is 49. 5 into c into 7 power n minus 1 by 7 power n minus 2. We are simply left with 7, so 535. This will be into 7 power n minus 2 by 7 power n minus 2, completely cancelled. Then again this will be left with 7 square. So now we can write this equation as 49c is equal to 35c minus 6c plus 49. Now if you solve this completely, you will get c value, which will be 49 by 20. Hence our solution an of p, which we have taken, let me mention it over here, this will be becoming, instead of c, let's write 49 by 20. So 49 by 20 into 7 power n. All. This is the particular solution, and over here we got the this is our particular solution. Let me just write it. Particular solution an of p, and this was our homogeneous solution. So now an will be simply given as an is equal to an of p plus an of h. So if we take that, then it will be, what is an of p? Alpha 1 into 3 power n plus alpha 2 into, okay, I took r1 as 2, I believe. So let's just alpha 1 into 3 power 2 power n plus alpha 2 into 3 power n, let's just check it, yeah. Then plus 49 by 20 into 7 power n. This is our solution. If we were given an initial condition, we can find the values of alpha 1 and alpha 2. But since we have not been given the initial conditions, we cannot find the values of alpha 1 and alpha 2. We will leave it as it is. This is the general solution for our problem. An is equal to 5an minus 1 plus 6an minus 2 plus 7 power n. So this concludes our topic of theorem 5. Theorem 6, which is basically, so if you remember, while we were taking particular solution for theorem 5, we were just assuming what the solution might be. So if you remember, I had taken for 2n, the particular solution can be cn plus d, where both c and d are constants. And for 3 power n, actually for 7 power n, which we did in the earlier problem, I took the particular solution as c into 7 power n, where c is some constant. So in this theorem, we will actually see how we get those particular solution for both of those where we have a polynomial in n or nth power of a constant. So in theorem 6, f of n is either nth power of a constant, that is either 1 power n, 2 power n, anything like that, or it is a polynomial in n, 2n, 3n, 3n plus 2, n square plus 1, such that, or it can be both product of the polynomial of n and the nth power of a constant. So let me just write it over here so that it is understood. Whenever f of n is product of a polynomial of n or nth power of a, actually and nth power of a constant, then we will be using theorem 6. So basically f of n will be 3 power n, 5 power n, anything, and along with that it may be multiplied with 2n, 3n, or simply n, or n square plus 1. We will see a few examples, but for now you have to remember where we are using theorem 6. Theorem 6 is being used whenever we have f of n in such a way that it is a product of a polynomial of n or nth power of a constant. Now, so we will see the general form of theorem 6. Suppose an satisfies the linear non-homogeneous recurrence relation an is equal to I is equal to 1 to k ti a n minus I plus f of n, and f of n is I is equal to 0 to t b t minus I n power t minus I into s power n, where both b, t and s are real numbers. Now in this case, this is the equation. If we get this kind of equation, what should be the solution? The particular solution should be, now here we have two scenarios. The two scenarios are, suppose this s, which is some real number, if this is the root of this equation, okay, so suppose we have 3 over here and 3 is a root in this case. For this equation we generally find the roots, right? For this equation, if 3 is the root, then we have second case when 3 is not a root or s is not a root, then we have the first case. So when s is not a root of the characteristic equation, this is your characteristic equation. So this is the first case. When s is not a root of the characteristic equation of the associated, this will be your associated linear homogeneous recurrence relation. If you remember it from the earlier topic, that is theorem 5. So in theorem 5, we divided our equation into two parts. One was the associated part and the other was the particular solution, an of h plus an of t. Then when s is not a root of this equation, then the solution will be of the form I is equal to 0 to t pt minus I n power t minus I into s power n. Now the second case will be when our s is a root of this characteristic equation and its multiplicity is m. Then there is a particular solution of the form n power m. So this term is added as extra. N power m, I is equal to 0 to t pt minus I n power t minus I into s power n. Okay, so this n power m is the multiplicity when s is a root. So if s is repeated once, then it will be n power 1. If s is repeated twice, n square, and so on. We will see a few examples for understanding this, but for now you have to remember that theorem 6 will have two cases. One will be when s is not a root. The other will be when s is a root. Whenever s is a root, to the case 1 we will just add n power m, where m is your multiplicity, that is how many times the root is being repeated. Multiplicity, or I'll just write it over here, multiplicity means how many times the root is being repeated. Okay, so that is the multiplicity. The factor n power m ensures that the proposed particular solution will not already be a solution of the associated linear homogeneous recurrence relation. So n power m is basically ensuring that whatever our solution is, it is not already a solution. Okay, now so this actually is the textbook slide of your theorem 6, or the textbook content of theorem 6. So instead of writing it in the sigma format, it is all expanded over here. Suppose that an is equal to c1 an minus 1 plus c2 an minus 2 plus and so on up to ck an minus k plus f of n, where c1, c2 and ck are all real numbers, and f of n is equal to, what is f of n? It is b subscript t n power t plus this bt minus 1, b1, b0, all of these are real numbers. So these are just simply constants. What is important is this: we are raising n to the power of some t minus 1 and so on. Now, when S is not a root of the characteristic equation of the associated linear homogeneous recurrence relation, so this, then the particular solution, this is for case 1. Okay. pt n power t plus pt n minus 1 n power t minus 1 plus and so on up to p1 n plus p0 into s power n. Okay. One more thing. If you have in our problem n and some constant, then we will have only p1n plus p0. If we have all these terms, then we will be taking all these terms. Okay. That is, if we have suppose n square plus n plus 1 into 7 power n, suppose, and 7 is also the root of our equation, then we will write this p2 n square plus p1n plus p0 into 7 power n. This is how it is written. Suppose if s is not a root of our equation, when s is a root of this characteristic equation and its multiplicity is m, then we simply multiply with n power m to this case 1. So this will become your case 2. Okay. So I hope you have understood this. It is a bit confusing, but we will see an example and then it will be clear. So let's see an example for the same. So for this, the example is, what form does a particular solution, let me write the question. Question is, what form does a particular solution of the linear non-homogeneous recurrence relation an is equal to 6an minus 1 minus 9an minus 2 plus f of n have when, in this we have a few cases or a few sub problems. So we'll see the first one and we will see as we go to the next one. F of n is equal to 3 power n. Okay. Now the associated, what is the associated linear homogeneous recurrence relation? This will be the associated homogeneous recurrence relation. So let's mention that the solution associated linear homogeneous recurrence relation is an is equal to 6an minus 1 minus 9an minus 2. Now what will be the characteristic equation? It will be directly I'm writing, you can do it step by step as I have shown you in theorem 1, I believe. So directly it will be r square minus 6r plus 9 is equal to 0, and that can be written as I minus 3 whole square is equal to 0. The roots are real and equal, r is equal to 3. Both are not r1 and r2 is 3, that is the roots are real and equal. So in this case it has a single root. Let's mention it over here. Our problem has a single root. What is the root? 3. And how many times we have? It is being repeated twice. Okay. So the multiplicity is 2. Multiplicity is 2. Now what is the equation? 3 power n. The root is 3 and this is also 3. Okay. This is our s. If you remember from our general formula, then this is the s. Now it has to apply theorem 6 with f of n of the form p of n into s power n, where we have the polynomial and s is a constant. We need to check whether our roots and the equation is the same. So that is same because s is equal to 3. So this I'll just write it over here. S is equal to 3 and r is also equal to 3. Both of them are equal and the multiplicity is 2. So we have to use the case 2. Case 2, if you remember. Let's see the case 2. When s is the root of this characteristic equation and its multiplicity is m, we have to use this case. Now, do we have any of these terms in our f of n? No, we don't have. We don't have b naught, b1n. We don't have any constants associated with 3 power n. So if you see our problem, we simply have 3 power n. So that means when we are writing the solution, we don't need to have any of these terms except for p naught. Why? Because we have 1 into 3 power n. If we take it as a product of polynomial and the nth power of a constant, then we can take our formula as 1 into 3 power n. So hence, if we are taking 1 into 3 power n, we have to take p naught. So our solution can be written as, the general solution or the particular solution of our complete equation is given as, multiplicity is true, so n power m into, since we have 1 into 3 power n, we are simply taking p naught into whatever s power n we had. So we are taking 3 power n. Multiplicity over here I have given as 2, so our equation will be in the form, general equation will be in the form p naught we have to write first because it is a constant into n square into 3 power n. This is the general solution. Once again I am saying that since we do not have any polynomials n except for the constant, if we consider 1 into 3 power n, that is why I am taking only one term over here, which is p naught. Okay, now we will see another example. Suppose for the same a n is equal to 6a n minus 1 minus 9a n minus 2 plus f of n, but in this case our f of n is given as n into 3 power n. Now if you see our this term, the term 3 power n is being multiplied with the polynomial n. Now what will be the equation? So the equation or the general solution, so our root is the same 3, and this 3 and this 3 are the same, that is s power n is the root of the characteristic equation, and the multiplicity is also given as 2, which we have already found out in the earlier problem. Now f of n is equal to n into 3 power n. What is n into 3 power n? If we are taking this as n into 3 power n, if we want to compare it with our formula, it will be this way, b1n into 3 power n. So what did I say? If you have n, the nth term or the n term, then we have to take two constants in our solution. So if we are writing the solution for this problem, we will have two constants. We will have p naught and p1. So the and also n power m. So if I want to write the solution, n power m into p1n plus p naught into 3 power n. Why am I taking two terms or two constants? Because we have n over here. So we have to take two constants. If we have n square, we'll be taking three terms. If we have n power 4, you will be taking 4 terms over here. So you get the gist of what I am saying is, whenever we have n power whatever over here, so if we consider 1, it was n power 0. So we were taking only p naught. If we have n power 1, we will be taking 2 terms. Okay. So I hope you have understood what I am trying to say. So n power m into p1 n plus p naught into 3 power n, or it can be written as, what is the multiplicity? It is 2. So n square into p1n plus p naught into 3 power n. Okay, I said if we have n power t, we will have n power t plus 1 terms in this bracket. Okay. In the earlier case, I said t terms only, we will have t plus 1 terms. All right. Now, in the next example, let's see the next example. The same problem, instead of f of n being n into 3 power n, f of n is over here is n square into 2 power n. Now, our s is given as 2, while the root of the equation we got was 3 and the multiplicity was 2. And s is given as, I'm sorry, I said s is given as 2. S is 2, root is 3, so we have to consider the case 1. Now you have got the case 1 problem. What is the case 1? When S is not a root of the characteristic equation of the associated linear homogeneous recurrence relation. Now, if we see over here, 2 is not a root of our equation, earlier equation, which is given as 6an minus 1 minus n 9an minus 2. The root for our equation is 3, while S is 2. So we have to consider the case 1. That is, we have to take n power, we should not be taking n power m. Okay, we should not be taking n power m. So let's see the case 1 once again. Before seeing the case 1, we will see that we have n square over here. So totally how many terms we will have in the bracket? We will have 3 terms. And let's see this. We have to write P0, P1 and P2 also, and we should not be multiplying with n power m, how we usually multiply when S is a root. So let's write the general solution, and for these problems you can write it directly. This won't be essay problems, this will usually be short answer questions, so you can write it directly. So for this n square into 2 power n, your general solution will be P2 n square plus P1n plus P0 into 2 power n. This is your general solution. Okay. Now the next thing is, when we have our fourth f of n is given as n square plus 1 into 3 power n. If we have n square plus 1 into 3 power n, then in this case, if you see 3, S is given as 3, that is this, and R is also 3, and what is the multiplicity? We have multiplicity is 2. And we have over here n square plus 1. So n square plus 1 means we have the highest degree is 2. So totally how many terms we will have again? We will have 3 terms in the bracket. So for this, the general solution will be n power m into P2 n square plus P1 n plus P0 into 3 power n. What is m? The multiplicity is 2. So this equation is written as n square into P2 n square plus P1 n plus P0 into 3 power n. Okay. So this is the general solution for our this n square plus 1 into 3n. Now, for theorem 6, the initial conditions will not be given. This is the only thing you have to find out. So that is the reason I said this will be in FAQ or short answers question. Now, this concludes the topic solving linear recurrence relations. But before I conclude the topic, what I would like to do is I would like to revise all the theorems that we have studied till now. So for that, let's see. I've made this sheet. Actually, this is like a cheat sheet to get all these theorems in one place, so that whenever you have an exam, you can easily remember the characteristic equation and also the general solution. So if you remember theorem 1, we have studied a long while ago. So I hope you go back to those topics and revise it. So first and foremost, we have theorem 1. So these 1, 2, 3 denotes the theorem. So theorem 1 is C1 and C2 are real numbers. Okay, C1 and C2 are real numbers. In that case, our characteristic equation will be R square minus C1R minus C2 is equal to 0. Okay, and suppose if I take an example, our equation may be given in this way: an is equal to an minus 1 plus 2an minus 2. Then we get the characteristic equation in this way. What will be the characteristic equation for this? R square minus R minus 2 is equal to 0. Once again, I am saying that I am doing it directly. If you are supposed to do it, I'll show you over here. So over here, if we have the equation an is equal to an minus 1 plus 2an minus 2. How do you find the characteristic equation? First, you shift all the terms to the other side and make it equal to 0. An minus 1 minus 2an minus 2 is equal to 0. Then what do? You write it in powers of r power n. Okay, so r power n minus r power n minus 1 minus 2 into r power n minus 2 is equal to 0. Then you divide this entire equation with the lowest power of r that you have over here. So you will divide it with r power n minus 2. So once you divide this with r power n minus 2, you will get, so this n minus n plus 2, a power m by a power n will give us a power m minus n. I hope you remember this, exponent and power. So this n minus, when this power goes to the numerator, the signs will change and we will have over here r square minus r minus 2 is equal to 0. This is how you get the characteristic equation. I hope you remember this from our earlier theorems. Okay, so I may have probably taught this in only theorem 1. The same methodology needs to be followed for all the theorems till theorem 6. Okay, so now once you get the characteristic equation, depending upon the roots, we will be choosing our theorems. If the roots are distinct, what does distinct means? We have two different roots, r1 and r2. Then our solution will be, general solution will be given as En is equal to alpha 1 into r1 power n plus alpha 2 into r2 power n, where alpha 1 and alpha 2 are constant. Okay, so if alpha 1 and alpha 2 are constant, then our general solution is given in this form. And if you have initial conditions, then you can even find the value of alpha 1 and alpha 2 by using the substitution equation methods that you have already studied. Now, in the same case, C1 and C2 are real numbers. Characteristic equation is given as follows, but instead of the roots being different, we have equal roots, as we have just seen in theorem 6. That is, r was equal to 3. Then in that case, we will have the solution as alpha 1 into r naught power n. Okay, so first is similar, but for the second term, we will have alpha 2 into n into r naught power n. So the same root is being multiplied by alpha 1, but in the second case, we will also multiply it with n. So alpha 2 into n. So this term is being changed from theorem 1. So if we compare theorem 1 and theorem 2, then this second term is different. What is the difference over here? We are multiplying the second term with n. Okay, this is in the case of equal roots. So let's again summarize. If we have distinct roots, our solution will be alpha 1 into r1 power n plus alpha 2 into r2 power n, the simplest solution. If we have equal roots, we have to remember that we have to multiply an is equal to alpha 1 r naught power n. In alpha 2 should be multiplied with n and then again the root whole power n. Okay. Now, theorem 3 is if we have distinct roots more than 2. That is, if we have 3 or more distinct roots. Okay. So if we have C1, C2 and Ck as real numbers, and we have k roots, suppose k different roots, then our equation will be how many ever roots we have. If we have 3 roots, we'll be taking 3 constants. So let me just write here alpha 1, alpha 2 and so on up to alpha k are all constants. Okay. So if C1, C2 and Ck are all real numbers and we get k distinct roots, then R1, R2 and so on up to Rk are the different roots. Then each root should be multiplied with a constant. It will be alpha 1, alpha 2 and alpha k. Now for the next theorem, which is the fourth theorem, if we have multiple roots and they are being repeated. So the term multiplicity is if the root is being repeated. C1, C2 and Ck are all real numbers and our characteristic equation is given in this form. That is, it will be a polynomial equation with degree 3 or more, and R1, R2 and Rt are all the roots. Okay, where R1 is being repeated m1 times, R2 is being repeated m2 times and Rt is being repeated mt times. Then our solution will be alpha 1 0, how many ever times it is being repeated, we have to take those many constants, and R1 power n. So suppose our R1 is being repeated 3 times. Then we have to take alpha 1 comma 0, alpha 1 comma 1 and alpha 1 comma 1 into n plus alpha 1 comma 2 into n square. Okay. We have seen a problem with respect to this theorem. Please refer back to that. So this is the formula. If R2 is being repeated only one time, then we will simply take alpha 2 power 0 into R2 power n. Okay. That is the theorem 4. Now theorem 5, usually whenever the theorems are asked in LAQs, we usually get theorem 1, theorem 2, 3 and 5 in LAQ, and very rarely we get theorem 4 and 6. So theorem 4 and 6 are not very common for LAQ. While 1, 2, 3 and 5 problems based on these theorems 1, 2, 3 and 5 are very important. That is, if you are getting a question from unit 3, 80% chance that you will get one of these problems. Okay. So this recurrence relation solution is very important. Apart from that, you will get generating functions. Generating functions also is an important topic which is related to again this topic. So my point is that this topic, solving linear recurrence relations in unit 3, is very important. Okay. Now the next thing is our theorem 5, which we have seen. An is equal to, so this is for linear non-homogeneous recurrence relations, and while you are taking the solution, you have to assume over here for f of n, and this is a little bit difficult, so you have to solve a few problems based on this theorem. And what will be our solution? An will be equal to an of p plus an of h, where an of h is the associated homogeneous recurrence solution. Okay. Now over here in theorem 5 needs to be practiced, and you will have to see the various cases. That is, if we have a polynomial, what is the particular solution that we take? And if we have a constant with power n, then what is the particular solution that you have to take? I've shown you both the examples in the theorem 5 session. Please refer back to it. Now, the next one is the theorem 6, which we have just seen. Theorem 6 is basically when we have f of n as a product of polynomial and a power of nth power of a constant. Then in this case we have two cases. We have just seen the two cases. Now one more thing is, in my important question list I have given all these recurrence relations problems with respect to each theorem. So please practice all the problems in such a way that you will be able to solve any problem, and these problems are usually given entirely for 7 marks. Okay, so whenever you get this problem, if you do it correctly, if you understand the concept, it is very easy, and if you do it correctly, you will get the complete 7 marks. Important for both internal and external. Hope you have understood the topic. If you have any queries, you can email me. Thank you.